A very good evening and a warm welcome to your weekend edition of Primetime News on TV1. I'm Zeenat Musafir, joined by our news interpreter for tonight, Brian De Cruz. Let's first take a look at your headlines for today.
Low income, some of the beneficiaries to receive 5,000 rupee allowance. Farmers in Valsapugala, Mahiyanganaya, Madavachia and Kalgamua prepare for a national struggle. Is the governing alliance in crisis?
යම් ප්‍රශ්න ගණනාවක් අපිට මුහුණ දෙන්න සිද්ධ වෙලා තියෙනවා අධිපති මතවාදයත් එක්ක.
අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපි කියන්නේ සාමාන්‍යයෙන් නැට්ටෙන් බල්ලෙක් වනලා නැහැ. බල්ලා තමයි නැට්ට වන.
Sri Lankan at the cusp of an Asian record.
On to your top story tonight. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has extended his deepest condolences over the demise of Prince Philip. In a tweet published today, the president said that the eminent career of Prince Philip in the military and the community services rendered by him will always be remembered. Meanwhile, gun salutes to mark the demise of Prince Philip were held across the UK, in Gibraltar and from warships at sea from 4:30 p.m. Sri Lankan time today.
Prince Philip, the husband of Queen Elizabeth II, passed away at the age of 99 yesterday. He was the longest-serving royal consort in British history. UK's Defence Ministry said that saluting batteries fired one round every minute for 40 minutes in cities including London, Edinburgh, Cardiff and Belfast. The salutes were broadcasted online and on TV, with the public being encouraged to observe them from home. Meanwhile, a 41-gun salute was held outside Canberra's Parliament House in Australia today in honour of Prince Philip. Australia's national flag was also lowered over the Parliament building to mark the nation's sadness over his death. In London, the King's Troop Royal Horse Artillery used the same guns that were fired for the wedding of Prince Philip and Queen Elizabeth II in 1947 and at the Queen's coronation in 1953. People across the UK were asked not to gather in crowds or to lay flowers at royal palaces due to distancing guidelines imposed to stem the spread of COVID-19. Issuing a statement, the College of Arms said that the Duke of Edinburgh will not have a state funeral and there will be no lying in state in line with his wishes. Final details of the Duke's funeral are expected to be released this weekend.
The government has decided to offer a 5,000 rupee relief allowance for low-income earning individuals and Samudri beneficiaries. The allowance is to be offered through Samudri banks on the 12th and 13th of this month.
Basil Rajapaksa, who heads the Presidential Task Force on Poverty Alleviation, has informed us to issue a statement. Accordingly, the government has decided to offer a 5,000 rupee allowance in line with the Sinhala and Tamil New Year for some of the beneficiaries and low-income earning individuals. The 5,000 rupee allowance can be obtained through some of the banks on Monday and Tuesday, just as it was done during the COVID-19 pandemic. Therefore, we are requesting all stores to be kept open on the 12th and 13th, as the people must be allowed to purchase commodities for the Sinhala and Tamil New Year.
ලැබීමෙන් පසු ඔවුන්ට සිංහල දෙමළ අලුත් අවුරුද්ද වෙනුවෙන් භාණ්ඩ මිලදී ගැනීමට අවස්ථාව සලසා දී යුතු නිසා අපි උත්සාහ කරනවා හෙට දිනේ සිට.
We are trying to provide these facilities to the people tomorrow. We hope to commence this program swiftly. Our objective is to ensure that at least a certain fraction of the beneficiaries receive the allowance before the Sinhala and Tamil New Year. We have instructed divisional secretaries about this matter as well.
ඔවුන්ට මේ වෙනකොට උපදෙස් ලබා දීලා තියෙනවා.
I will be setting fire to this document while promising that I will not agree to any of their conditions in the future. The farmers will launch an island-wide struggle to remove the corrupt administration comprising of corrupt politicians.
Farmers continue to stage protests across the country, demanding a solution to the long-standing human-elephant conflict.
The Satyagraha launched by farmers of Valsapugala entered its 84th day today. The Wallowa Left Bank Farmers Organization, which is involved in the Satyagraha, is demanding authorities to gazette a managed wild elephant reserve. A group including Vasanta Samarasinghe, a Politburo member of the Janata Vimukti Peramuna, representing the Inter-Association Workers Union, visited the site of the Satyagraha today. We challenge them to try and live here for a month or a year while engaging in farming. They will then realize the injustice faced by us and the problems faced by our children due to our economic woes. These are the problems. The President must engage in a discussion with farmers. They have not been able to gazette the reserve yet. Chamal Rajapaksa says that the farmers involved in the protests are being funded by NGOs. He says that he too will join the protest if he is funded. If that is the case, he doesn't have to go to parliament given his age. He can join the Satyagraha and go and work in the paddy fields. Then Chamal Rajapaksa can be involved in the Satyagraha after being funded by NGOs. As he claims, he can just come here and sleep. We wish to tell the minister to avoid making such shameful statements. They are involved in a justifiable struggle. The Satyagraha launched by farmers of Mahiyanganaya in solidarity with the farmers of Valsapugala entered its 25th day today. 37 farmers groups are currently involved in the protest. A group including members of the Badulla District Socialist Students Union joined the protest today. The students of the union displayed drawings of deforestation at the site of the Satyagraha. Meanwhile, farmers of Galgamua have been staging a Satyagraha for 26 days, demanding a solution to the human-elephant conflict. Trade union representatives in the Kurunegala district joined the Satyagraha today. The Satyagraha launched by farmers of Medawachia, demanding a scientific solution to the human-elephant conflict, entered its 23rd day as well.
Meanwhile, the project to refurbish the Barak Plain River in Nuwara and the development activities of its surroundings under a national program targeting the irrigation sector was launched today. All of us have a responsibility. If we fulfill that responsibility, we will be able to protect the environment while executing our duties. We are not looking at this through a political lens. We are concerned about the people of the country. If we fulfill our responsibilities today, we would be doing so on behalf of the future generations of the country. We are only the caretakers of this country. We must execute our duties while being mindful of the future generations of the country. Therefore, let us all join hands and develop our neighborhoods.
Meanwhile, former Minister of Wildlife Sarath Fonseca expressed his views regarding the Elephant Management Reserve in Valsapugala.
I have visited this area. When I was the Minister of Wildlife, we too granted approval to allocate an elephant management reserve in the area. The Mahavali Authority and the Forest Conservation Department has agreed upon it as well. Only the gazette was left to be issued. They are not doing that. A huge racket is taking place. There are rock and gravel pits running across the lands spanning between 200 and 300 acres. Since the racketeers are losing them, ministers like Chamal Rajapaksa are insulting and demeaning the general public. Illegal rackets are carried out after being given approval and support.
Meanwhile, farmers of Bandagiriya have raised concerns regarding the illegal extraction of water from the Bandagiriya reservoir. This reservoir nourishes more than 5,000 acres of paddy land during the Yala and Maha seasons and more than 2,000 farming families in the area. Farmers claim that a group of unidentified individuals are illegally drawing out water from the Bandagiriya reservoir for paddy and banana cultivations inside the Bandagiriya Reserve. The farmers in Bandagiriya visited the area where the unauthorized cultivation is being carried out. A group of cultivators fled the area upon their arrival. A heated argument arose between the farmers and a group carrying out the illegal cultivation activities.
We showed this to the Minister of Irrigation as well. They directed this towards the police. There is political influence behind their activities. Don't authorities notice this? How many times have we informed them? A large-scale businessman is extracting sand. We have informed the authorities and the politicians regarding this, but attention is not being paid towards this matter.
Meanwhile, the farmers of Nama Loya are suffering due to a lack of seeds and fertilizer to cultivate their crops. Around 4,000 acres of paddy lands have been allocated for 12 farming areas under the Nama Loya project. However, farmers say that crops cannot be cultivated due to the lack of seeds and fertilizer, although water had been released ahead of the Yala cultivation season.
There is no definite place to buy paddy seeds yet. Fertilizer has not been given yet. In fact, fertilizer has not even arrived at stores. Farmers are facing a crisis due to this. Water has gone to waste and the canals are running dry for another year. There are no paddy seeds and fertilizer. There is no way in which we can go on like this. This is how we live. In the past, we used to purchase these at a higher cost, but now we can't afford to do so.
Farmers say that the water released for paddy fields is wasted due to the premature release of water.
They give us water and tell us to cultivate crops, but we don't have seeds to do so. What has happened today is that the water is not only in the paddy fields, but in the canal. This is a complete failure. It is against such a backdrop that they are asking us to cultivate crops. They seem to be asking us to cultivate crops by only using seeds. They are unable to supply water on time and give us the required seeds. If they can't provide at least fertilizer to farmers and understand their woes, what are these rulers for? They know nothing about cultivation.
While the daily struggles of the farmers in Sri Lanka continues to be unresolved on one hand, there is a difference of opinions among constituent parties of the governing faction on several matters. Under what system will the provincial council election be held? Will the constituent parties hold the May Day rallies together? These are just a few of the matters that the constituent parties of the government are of split opinions. 11 constituent parties of the governing faction met and held discussions recently at the head office of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party.
This was the 6th party leaders meeting. The first meeting took place at Bimal Veeravansa's residence. The meeting focused on matters regarding the East Container Terminal and ultimately we solved that issue. We are now facing several issues, particularly allegation that the government is acting arbitrarily. This is why we should be stronger and face all of these problems together as one. The parties that have joined hands are those that supported President Rajapaksa to come to power. Despite the support we extended to obtain a 2/3 majority, we are not happy with the way our party was treated. Until this problem is solved, I will repeat and highlight this matter everywhere.
Every political party has the right to hold discussions with another party, but ultimately these underhand dealings and discussions will be revealed. The Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna will not bow down to any party and will not be intimidated by any other party.
We discussed the new Provincial Council Act and how it will affect constituent parties.
යම් සාකච්ඡාවක් කළා.
මේ රැලිය අවස්ථනේ පොදු ජන පෙරවන වෙනමයි පිළිපත්තු වෙනමයි කියලා සමහර අය කියනවා.
නෑ එහෙම තීරණයක් තාම.
No, we have not reached such a decision. So far, all the trade unions of the SLPP are collaboratively organizing the May Day rally. Further, all parties will be meeting the Prime Minister on the 19th to reach a final decision regarding this matter.
අපි පොදු මේ දිනය ගැන තීරණයක් ගන්න.
නෑ ඉතින් සාමාන්‍යයෙන්
Everyone must have a clear understanding of their situation and standards. They must be aware of the forces backing them and remember that they are supporting the government.
Meanwhile, several ruling party MPs expressed their views on when the provincial council election will be held.
We believe that the provincial council election can be held by the end of this year. We cannot specify an exact date on when the elections will be held. However, we are trying our best to hold the elections as soon as possible.
We cannot hold the provincial council election. It cannot be held unless the necessary laws are passed in parliament. The land must be demarcated and views regarding this should be obtained from the general public. Thereafter, we need to take this matter to the Attorney General and the Cabinet. In my view, by the time we complete all of this, we will not be able to hold the provincial council elections this year.
Several issues have been created within and outside the parliament. We saw how the locals of Ratnapura chased away the other day. Even Vimal was chased away when he visited Tissa Maharame recently. MP Jagat was chased away by his own party supporters. If there is no discipline within the party, how can you expect the ruling party to remain disciplined in the country? Is there a government in the first place? In my view, there is no government at present. The government is like a ship without a captain. So, many problems prevail within the government.
An event was held to mark the birthday of Minister of Sports Nama Rajapaksa in Mathura today.
Happy birthday dear Nama. Happy birthday to
The birthday celebrations were held during the opening ceremony of the Underwater Museum in Nilvalla that was graced by Sports Minister Nama Rajapaksa. Yoshita Rajapaksa and his wife were also present during the event. The group toured the Underwater Museum while diving. We're crossing over for a short commercial. Stay tuned to News First.
Hello.
Hello, love. Just to let you know, my parents are coming home tonight.
But we still have to go grocery shopping.
I might get a little late. Do you think you can do it?
Fine, I'll do it.
Please don't forget, okay?
I have to go now. I'm in a meeting.
Meeting?
Cargill's Online, delivering groceries on time, always.
Do your online shopping now with Bulletin.lk to get it home delivered or pick up on your way.
Bulletin.lk.
Welcome back to the news. Estate workers say that state-run plantations have failed to offer the 1,000 rupee daily wage, although the government had issued a directive to this effect recently.
Workers employed in 22 privately owned estates had not received the 1,000 rupee daily wage this month. In addition, workers attached to 38 state-run plantations had not received the wage as well.
We expected to receive it last month, but we didn't receive it this month as well. The cost of goods has risen. How can we continue to live like this? We haven't received the 1,000 rupee wage pledged by the government.
Plantation Minister Ramesh Patrana told News First that the proposal to meet the increased wage had not been implemented completely as it was based on a sudden decision. He said that steps would be taken to settle the balance payments during the weekend.
A lecture on the presence of harmful substances in commodities such as coconut oil took place today. The event was organized by the Government Medical Officers Association and the National Front of Professionals.
This document contains guidelines for Asia-Pacific countries. According to these scientific guidelines, it is prohibited to mix other substances with coconut oil. This is what the scientific guideline says. But a gazette has been published in Sri Lanka allowing other substances to be mixed with coconut oil. Where are we heading? This is what the international community has accepted. A person who is between the age of 70 and 80 would have simmered coconut oil for the New Year season. That is the only product we can rely on. If that is the case, then why can't the Coconut Ministry set up traditional coconut oil mills known as Sekkua in each village? If they can set up this system in each village, that would be a strength to all the villages.
පටන් ගන්න බැරි. පළක මේ වගේ සෙක්කු ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න මේවා සරල දෙයක් නේ. හැම ගමකම මේ මිනිස්සු එතකොට තමන්ගේ සුව ශක්තිය නැගිටි.
මේ ශරීරයේ මොන ඕනම
The liver is the main organ that functions when harmful products enter a person's body. That is because the liver tries to remove these harmful elements. As a result of this, it is the liver that is affected the most. The liver will stop functioning and result in various other diseases. Our body will turn yellow and our blood will also be affected. This can even result in death. But there are more harmful effects in the long term. In such an instance, the liver will be affected and it may result in cirrhosis. Since the products contain carcinogenic substances, it may even lead to cancer.
ඒ සිරෝසිස් වලින් මේක පිළිකාකාරකයක් හින්දා පිළිකා තත්වයකට යන්න පුළුවන්.
It has been revealed that the 2 bowsers of coconut oil that were seized in Puttalam contain aflatoxin. Accordingly, the Customs Department has said it has launched an investigation to determine whether it had been imported or not. We are happy to note that the CID has also dispatched a team and are carrying out further investigations into the matter.
Meanwhile, the left front raised concerns over a fertilizer scam during a media briefing yesterday. National security does not refer to the security of the wealthy individuals. They have provided poison instead of coconut oil, committed a sugar scam, and now carry out a scam in terms of fertilizer as well. There are excess levels of lead and cadmium in the 18,000 metric tons of fertilizer. This can result in liver diseases, kidney-related ailments, and bone diseases as well. It is the Presidential Secretariat that has exerted pressure to permit the import of this 18,000 metric tons of fertilizer. This is the fate that has befallen us. Recently, several arrests were carried out across the country in connection to various high-profile incidents. When will the law be enforced against those involved in importing carcinogenic coconut oil and putting the lives of the general public of Sri Lanka at risk?
Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa has expressed his views over the recent arrest of the mayor of the Jaffna Municipal Council.
යාපනයේ නගරාධිපතිවරයා අත්අඩංගුවට ගැනීමේ ක්‍රියාවලිය මම දකින්නේ රටේ ජනතාව.
The arrest of the Jaffna mayor, in my view, was done to divert the attention of the general public. During the incident, he was described as a terrorist. I condemn this incident. The mastermind of the April 21st attacks is yet to be revealed. It is amusing how a suspect who was arrested a few days after the attacks is now being identified as the mastermind of the bombings. In my view, this is a wrong move that misleads the general public. I urge the government to refrain from instilling fear falsely amongst the people. Reveal the true mastermind of the attacks and punish them. This is what we are asking for from the government.
නීතිය හැමෝට ගෙනවිලා එයාට දැඩි දඬුවම් ලබා දෙන තෙක් අපි සියලු දෙනාම බලා සිටිනවා කියන එක මේ අවස්ථාවේ කියන්නට කැමතියි.
Indian national Marcelli Thomas, arrested on September 2018 over a conspiracy to assassinate former President Maithripala Sirisena. Indian High Commission identifies the suspect as a person who is mentally unstable. Suspect released on the 27th of February 2019. What happened to this individual? March 19th, 2021. Indian national arrested for vandalizing a Buddha statue in Kuliapitiya. Suspect remanded until the 29th of March. April 5th, 2021. Suspect further remanded until the 19th of April. Indian national arrested for vandalizing a Buddha statue in Kuliapitiya dies after being admitted to the Variapula hospital for a sudden illness. What is the status of the investigations into this death? Meanwhile, the Shiva Sena organization has launched a Satyagraha campaign at 3 locations in the northern and eastern regions, citing 3 demands. At the launch of the Satyagraha campaign, the Shiva Sena organization demanded for a legislation that does not allow a citizen to change his or her religion and to ban cattle slaughter. The Satyagraha was carried out in Jaffna, Vaunia and Akkarepattu. Meanwhile, the leader of the Shiva Sena organization has told the BBC media outlet on the 17th of February that plans are underway to launch a political party named Sri Lanka Bharatiya Janata Party.
A fire erupted at a shopping complex in Nugegoda this afternoon.
Police stated that 4 fire trucks had been deployed to extinguish the fire. The blaze is believed to have erupted as a result of an electricity leakage. Heavy traffic was reported along the 138 bus route in Nugegoda for more than an hour.
Sri Lanka Air Force swimming champion Roshan Abe Sundara today swam from Thale Manna to Dhanushkodi in India with the hope of setting a new Asian record.
Roshan Abe Sundara took on this challenge with the full support and guidance of the command of the Air Force, Air Marshal Sudarshan Patirana. Abe Sundar began his swim at the Thalaimana beach at 2 this morning with the aim of spreading awareness of protecting oceans and the environment. I am hoping to swim to Dhanushkodi in India from Manna and return back to Thalaimana. I am hoping to do this within 35 hours. Many factions have supported this. I want to spread the message to the world to avoid dumping polythene and plastic into the ocean. The total distance of the swim is 59.5 kilometers.
The National Director of the Mrs. Sri Lanka pageant has clarified that the reigning Mrs. World Caroline Jury has not decided to hand over her crown.
As I see it, the purpose of Mrs. World is to celebrate all women who are married and still strive to conquer their dreams along with the commitments and responsibilities a married woman strives to fulfill. The Mrs. World pageant was not created to discriminate, divorce or separate women, but to celebrate the dreams of the married woman. Any woman, despite her marital status, is a queen, and every queen has a stage that she can compete on. I believe it's my duty to mentor and to work with Mrs. Sri Lanka and give her my best to see her reach her greatest potential so that she will have a fair chance to win the crown.
Social media was abuzz yesterday over a video statement published on Facebook by reigning Mrs. World Caroline Jury stating that she is ready to hand over the crown. Several users attributed the statement to the controversy involving Caroline Jury as she stripped off the crown from the winner of the Mrs. Sri Lanka beauty pageant recently. However, the director of the Mrs. Sri Lanka pageant, Chandimal Jayasinghe, speaking to Newsfirst, clarified that Caroline Jury's video statement was done as a formality ahead of the upcoming Mrs. World event.
She had said that her remarks had been misinterpreted. She can't make such decisions on her own. The International Committee has approved that. The crown will be handed over legally to the winner of the next beauty pageant.
A report prepared by the Sri Lanka Land Development Corporation states that a yellowish-brown colour scum has developed in the Parliament Lake and connected waterways flowing to the lake along Denzil Quebec Kaduwa Mawatha and the Ministry of Defence Road in Battiramulla.
The report states that the source of pollution could be in the upper stream of the canal flows along Denzil Kobakadua Mawata in Battaramulla. This issue was highlighted by the opposition leader in Parliament on a number of occasions.
Honourable Speaker, I spoke honestly regarding the pollution in the Devanawaya and the change in the colour of the water there. The government accuses me of trying to score points, but this pollution is taking place even today.
According to the report, a considerably high total nitrogen value and fecal coliform values were recorded in the upper catchment area of the lake. This indicates nutrient contamination of the water. The report also highlights the importance of the quality of water of the Parliament Lake, as the Parliament is the highest seat of administration in the country where dignitaries visit. According to the report, quote, a deteriorated lake would only reflect poorly on the country as a whole, unquote. The report cites the water quality studies conducted by the Wetland Management Strategy that highlights the fact that domestic wastewater discharge to the canals without any treatment is the main cause of this state of severe degradation. The report states, quote, most of these new footprints go unchecked and the problem will continue to incur huge economic, social and environmental costs, unquote. Recommendations in the report include establish an expert committee to study lake characteristics, pollution and to implement catchment level programs to control the pollution. Isolate lakes and canals by placing barriers at appropriate locations. Continue to remove the scum manually using proper filters. And monitor the spread of algae in the lake and connected canals.
The Bar Association of Sri Lanka has appointed a committee to review the Colombo Port City Economic Commission Bill. The committee is chaired by President's Council Ikram Mohammed, comprising of President's Council Udita A. Galaheva, President's Council Chandaka Jayasundara, Shivan Kure, Ms. Yoshani Demuni, Iraj De Silva, Manjuka Fernanda Pulle and Danya Gunavardhana. The committee is tasked with examining the Port City Bill and to make recommendations to the Bar Association on the same. Meanwhile, the central bank has reduced the percentage of foreign currency revenue required to be converted into Sri Lankan rupees by exporters through local banks.
In a gazette published yesterday, the central bank said that exporters are required to convert 10% of their total export proceeds to Sri Lankan rupees through licensed local banks. The gazette noted that the conversion must be done within 30 days of receiving the export revenue. Previously, exporters were required to convert 25% of their total export proceeds within 14 days of receiving their revenue.
On to your sports news, the family-run Saturday program was kicked off this morning at the Colombo Racecourse under the auspices of Minister of Sports Namal Rajapaksa.
The family-run Saturday program aims to create a healthy future generation by improving both mental and physical well-being. The program will take place on Saturdays at 6 a.m. at the Colombo Racecourse. If we are to create talented sportsmen, we must first create a healthy future generation. In order to do so, parents must guide their children to lead a more active life. This is the New Year season. This has historically been the most active time of the year. I respectfully invite families to spend the Saturday mornings in an active manner by coming here. After initiating this at the racecourse, I am hoping that families of all areas will support us by taking part in this.
That's a wrap up Primetime News. Don't forget to log on to our award-winning website www.newsfirst.lk for more of the latest updates. Thank you very much for watching News First. Good night and take care.